Joining us now, Niharika Karanjawala Mitra. She's a senior associate at Karanjawala and Company, part of the legal defense team of Aryan Khan. We are also joined by Pinky Anand, senior advocate and former additional solicitor general of India. Thank you both very much for being with us. Niharika, let me come to you first. I believe there are 13 odd conditions associated or attached with this bail for Aryan Khan. Is that expected? Is there anything exceptional in that?
So conditions of bail are a very normal thing. In fact, in every case you have certain conditions. They can include anything from you have to take the court's permission before traveling to check-ins with a regular police station. These are expected in every case. From what I have heard, the court has adjourned till tomorrow so that they can pronounce the conditions of the bail tomorrow.
Pinky Anand, the argument made by the additional solicitor general was that this was a conspiracy. How exactly would this work if there was no evidence as has been argued, in the sense that he was not in possession of drugs and blood tests seem to indicate that there was no consumption either?
I think Vishnu, the entire argument that has been made by Anil, the additional solicitor general, is ultimately the fact that there was conscious possession and consumption. Because ultimately consumption is something that Aryan had admitted to as far as consumption of drugs is concerned. And as far as possession is concerned, conscious possession was believed based upon the recovery of the 6 grams of charas from Arbaz Khan. So the basis of the entire process was this. As far as illegal trafficking is concerned, that was based upon the nexus which was found by the prosecuting agency, the NCB, considering the WhatsApp chats and everything else, on which, of course, that several arguments are sought to be made that it is inadmissible in evidence, but the question is not of evidence as far as the court is concerned. This is the current stages of investigation, and today what was before the High Court was bail. So the entire premise has been based upon the conscious possession, the admissions of consumption, and the factum of tracing of conversations and other means to track down the illegal peddling and trafficking.
Niharika, the point which has been made by the ASG is that even if you are not found in possession, you are potentially or allegedly part of a conspiracy, and you would be liable for the same punishment as someone found with a commercial quantity of contraband. That there is a linkage which exists. You may not have it in your possession immediately. What is the legal? How would you respond legally? Yes.
See, this is a very nuanced argument that the NCB is trying to make out, because the fact of the matter is what they have found on Aryan is absolutely no illegal drugs. They have not conducted a medical test, therefore they have not found any evidence of consumption. And although the NCB claims that he has admitted to consumption, he has retracted his statement under section 67. On the first opportunity, on the 3rd of October itself. Therefore, as our lawyers argued in court, he has made no statements against himself. All of that has been retracted. Now, what the NCB here is trying to make out is a very far-fetched instance of conspiracy, not just conscious possession qua Arbaz merchant, which they are making out by saying that the two of them were friends. So surely Aryan knew what he was carrying, which is not necessarily true. But they are saying that the fact that 8 people on a cruise have all been arrested with some narcotics cannot be a coincidence, and therefore there must be some conspiracy behind it. And as our counsel Mr. Rohatgi rightly argued in court today, you can't base a conspiracy on just conjecture in that manner. It cannot be because this can't be a coincidence, surely there is a conspiracy. And the fact is they have not been able to establish a nexus between Aryan and any individual other than Arbaz merchant. If everybody on that cruise was to be considered a suspect, then they ought to have 1,300 suspects in custody at present.
Right, and so Pinky Anand, that really is one of the points that has been raised. Why have a select group of individuals been targeted in this manner? Firstly, by somebody who was a witness, who was apparently a part of the BJP, then by this mysterious detective who is now actually in police custody and who routinely appeared on selfies and videos with Aryan Khan in the NCB office. The entire process, some would say, was bizarre.
See, Vishnu, I don't know how far we can go with this kind of bizarre coverage of saying there was somebody from the BJP or somebody as a detective and what happened to that.
No, but
entire
it's a fact. It's a fact, Pinky, and you know, he was a Karyakarta, one of the two people, one of the group of people
Vishnu.
who were witnesses in this case. He
No,
was
no,
seen on video as
Vishnu.
well, and he says he was there. This is one of.
No,
I'm not
question is
talking
not-
about Goswami. Yes.
I am not saying whether he was there or not there. I don't even see what the materiality of the entire situation is if somebody was there or not there. I don't know why so much is being discussed on that score. Let's talk about the case. The criminal case is not built upon whether somebody was there in the precincts or not there in the precincts. However, that's completely different chapter, and I think this is sensationalizing the entire process. As far as the question is concerned, it is only of whether Aryan Khan and the others who were arrested in an attempt to have conspiracy and everything else which has been treated against them. That is the question at hand. Don't go by all these outside situations to say who was in the police station or not. I think that's a very irrelevant kind of consideration.
Niharika, would you agree with that? That these videos were essentially meaningless, because some would suggest that, and we've got this one video up, the second video, with this Gosavi taking some sort of audio message from your client in the NCB office. A, how was that leaked? And B, how could he have so much access to your client?
Vishnu, I could not agree more with what Pinky ma'am is saying. I agree that all of this speculation and this political edge to it has added a lot of murkiness in the news especially, and it makes everything seem like it's so much stranger and more bizarre than it is. But the fact of the matter is, this has absolutely nothing to do with the incident the NCB is trying to charge Aryan Khan with. And as I would say, as our lawyer said in court today, and as Pinky ma'am eloquently said right now, let us stick to what the case here is. The case here is a question of whether bail ought to have been granted, and we are happy that fortunately today the Bombay High Court agreed with us and was pleased to enlarge them on bail.
Pinky Anand, in a case like this, when there is no possession, there is no proof of immediate consumption, should the norm not be, or has it not been in most cases, to actually grant bail, and that if rehabilitation or counseling or something like that has to be done, that should be done, as opposed to having somebody in jail for nearly a month by the time they are released on bail?
Vishnu, I don't know if you're asking an academic question or you're actually asking something which is based on the case. However, whichever way it goes, the point remains, yes, the general rule is bail and not jail. That is the cardinal rule which one is trying to follow in most principles and should follow. But courts decide each case based on its own merits and its own facts and the law which is there as far as the issue is concerned. Please do remember one thing, good, bad or indifferent, whether you like it or you don't like it, NDPS has been made as a stringent law in this country for a purpose.
Yep.
And it has been upheld as a question of the fact that you can have special conditions and you will have special conditions for release of a person on bail, which is there in section 37 of the NDPS, which requires a prima facie case to be proved, and there is no reason not to let the accused be free, which is the principles which come under section 37. So, I mean, as I said, let us stick to our issue at hand. And I like Niharika's approach to say, when we are talking about the present case, we are not talking about any case and what should happen and what should happen outside in the precincts, but what happens as far as bail is concerned. And I really appreciate what she says to this extent, that let us see the trial when that comes to trial. But right now we are only talking about bail. Should he have been released on bail or should he not have been released on bail? And ultimately, Vishnu, rather than ask me, ask the special judge or ask the High Court.
No, I'm asking you for your view. You aren't the judge. I appreciate that. But Niharika,
right now you do have the High Court having granted bail, and of course we'll see the reasons to follow tomorrow. So we'll see what the High Court has to say on that. But there were some serious questions that had been raised. So the question of denial of bail or saying it is not the rule or what is the rule is bail. There's no question on that. And even reformative approach, you can keep touting it to say, of course, we are all there for reformatory approach. But at which stage, at what point? I mean, these are the considerations. And reformation, by the way, not only qua bail, it is also qua the punishment. Ultimately, courts will go into these issues and should go into these questions. So there's no discussion really on that point.
Niharika, the NDPS Act itself, the argument made by the ASG today was that bail is not the rule in a case like this. It is the exception. And the Supreme Court in the past, and there was a reference made by the ASG to what the Supreme Court has decided on this in the past, where they've apparently stated that these were crimes worse in some instances than even culpable homicide. So therefore, in a case like this where drugs are involved, is it actually always accurate to say that, look, bail should naturally follow and not a bail should necessarily follow, as opposed to somebody being in judicial or police custody?
Vishnu, I appreciate what the learned ASG said in court today. However, cases under NDPS are not all on the same facts and circumstances. When the Supreme Court says that the drug menace is today a more heinous problem than culpable homicide, what they mean is the problem of drugs as a whole, and the specification is with regards to serious cases like those of trafficking and things like that. It's not necessarily with regards to one individual whose friend has a small amount allegedly of narcotics on him. Therefore, you can't say that every case under NDPS is one and the same, right? For example, if I am in a large group of people, if I go to a school reunion and somebody there has a small quantity of something, can the NCB arrest me and make out a case against me saying, hey, look, she's known these people since she was in nursery, she went to school with them all of these years, which is essentially what they're saying about Aryan Khan. Does it make me culpable? It goes against all procedures of vicarious liability. They have to prove that he was aware of it. They have to prove something. It can't just be conjecture.
All right, we'll leave it at that. I'd like to thank you very much for joining us. Aryan Khan and 2 others have been granted bail in this case. By the time they're out, that should be sometime tomorrow, possibly even day after. It will be almost a month, but larger issues being raised over here. Remember, this is just the bail stage. This will get played out in court at so many levels for perhaps a long period of time. I'd like to thank you both very much for being with us.
Thank you.